The day my parents chose my adopted sister over me, I smiled, nodded, and said, I understand. But I didn't understand. I was 24 years old, standing in our living room with a suitcase beside me, watching the people who were supposed to be my safe place celebrate someone else's success as if mine had never existed. My name is Claire, and for most of my life, I believed love was something you earned by being good enough. My younger adopted sister, Lily, had arrived in our family when she was 6. My parents said she needed us, and I was happy to share everything with her. My room, my toys, my birthday cakes, even my parents' attention. At first, I never minded. Lily was sweet and scared. I wanted her to feel wanted. But as the years passed, something changed. Whenever Lily struggled, everyone rushed to protect her. When I struggled, I was told to be strong. When Lily got a school award, my mother took dozens of pictures. When I won a regional scholarship, Dad simply said, "Good. Keep working." I kept working. I learned not to complain. Then came the night that finally broke something inside me. I had just received an offer from a small technology company I had been dreaming about joining. The salary was good, but more importantly, they wanted me to help build a new business division. I walked into the kitchen with the offer letter in my hand. "Mom, Dad, I got it." My mother barely looked up. "That's nice, sweetheart." Then Lily walked in. She had been accepted into an expensive graduate program, and suddenly the entire room changed. My father stood up and hugged her. My mother cried. They talked about tuition, an apartment, travel, furniture, everything. I stood there holding my offer letter. Finally I asked, "Could we talk about my news too?" My father smiled awkwardly. "Claire, tonight is about Lily." That sentence stayed with me. Tonight is about Lily. The next morning, I learned that my parents planned to sell an investment property they had promised would eventually help me start my own business. They were selling it to pay for Lily's education. When I confronted them, my mother sighed. "You're independent," she said. "Lily needs us more." I looked at her. "And what about me?" She didn't answer. That silence hurt more than any argument could have. I packed my suitcase that afternoon, but what I didn't know was that leaving that house would be the beginning of the biggest transformation of my life. I moved into a tiny apartment with almost no savings. I worked during the day and built my own business at night. There were nights when I cried over instant noodles because I was exhausted and afraid. There were mornings when I wanted to call my mother and beg her to tell me I mattered. But every time I reached for my phone, I remembered those words, "You're independent." So I became independent, not because they wanted me to, because I finally realized I had no choice but to believe in myself. Months passed. My little business began to grow. The idea I had once been afraid to pursue became a real company. Then came my first major client, then another. I stopped checking whether my parents were proud of me. I started asking whether I was proud of myself. And slowly, the answer became yes. 2 years later, my company was worth more than I had ever imagined. I had moved into a beautiful apartment, built a small team, and learned something I had never understood as a child. Being overlooked can become a strange kind of freedom. But then, one afternoon, my mother called. Her voice sounded different. "Claire," she said quietly, "we need your help." I almost laughed. For years I had needed theirs. Now they needed mine. Lily had graduated, but her career had not gone the way everyone expected. The money my parents had spent had left them with serious financial pressure. The investment property was gone, their savings were nearly gone. And suddenly, they remembered they had another daughter. My mother asked if I could help them financially. I sat silently by my window. Part of me wanted to say yes immediately. That little girl who had once shared her toys with Lily still lived somewhere inside me. She still wanted her parents to be happy. But another part of me remembered standing in that kitchen with my offer letter while everyone celebrated Lily. I asked, "Would you have called me if you didn't need money?" There was a long silence. My mother whispered, "That's not fair." Maybe it wasn't, but it was true. A few weeks later, my parents invited me to dinner. Lily was there too. For the first time in years, we sat around the same table. My father looked embarrassed. "We know we made mistakes," he said. I looked at him. "You didn't just make mistakes. You made a choice." Nobody spoke. Then Lily reached across the table. "I'm sorry," she said. I looked at her carefully. She wasn't the little girl I remembered. She was an adult who finally understood what had happened. "I never asked them to choose me over you," she continued. "I thought they loved us the same." That sentence softened something in me, because for the first time, I realized Lily had been caught inside the same family dynamic I had been fighting. She wasn't my enemy.
I told them I would not give them money.
My father looked shocked, but before he could speak, I placed an envelope on the table. Inside was a plan. I had found them a financial advisor, a smaller apartment they could afford, and a realistic repayment schedule for their remaining debts. I won't rescue you, I said. But I won't abandon you either. My mother started crying. Why would you still help us after everything? I answered honestly. Because I don't want your mistakes to turn me into someone I don't recognize. That was my revenge. Not making them suffer. Not humiliating them. Simply becoming someone they could no longer overlook. A year later, my company opened a new office. My parents attended the opening. So did Lily. When my name was announced, my father stood first and applauded. My mother was crying, and Lily smiled like she had always been proud of me. I looked at them from the stage and realized something. For years, I thought my greatest victory would be making my family regret choosing Lily. But I was wrong. My greatest victory was no longer needing their regret. I had spent so much of my life asking, why wasn't I enough? Now I knew the answer. It had never been about my worth. Sometimes people fail to recognize your value because they are too focused on the role they had assigned you. The quiet one, the strong one, the one who will understand. But you don't have to stay inside the role someone else created for you. You can leave. You can rebuild. You can become more than the version of you they decided was convenient. My family chose the adopted daughter over me. For years, I thought that choice destroyed me. In the end, it introduced me to myself. And honestly, that was the one thing they could never take away.